Grown black folks talk. 48 hours of people failing to compete with and impress a black woman. Now, let me put out my bona fides because we all know what the manosphere has been sitting up here saying for 5 years, and their members have been dying back and getting cancer in the family jewels behind saying. And we also know the lies that America has told for about 400 years flat about black people. So let me just put my bona fides out here right away. And then I'm going to just tell you what I've just observed. And I promise confidence love, she's going to get a laugh off this. Because all these people, if she had been with me when some of this stuff went down, all I would have been saying, listen, you on the side of a hill. I'm going to show you on the side of this, the view from this particular hilltop. I know that it's the side of a hill. I know that there's green area there. I know that you're gonna get hurt. But look, go run down the hill, roll, break a few bones. Because if you tried this on her, she got the dark sisters, she got dark cousin. You're not gonna survive. But see, I allow sometimes things to happen so I can observe and so I can let the rest of you black women who are on my channel know, no, you are not being, don't let people gaslight you into thinking that these things are not going on, especially 1 year almost into the Trump administration where people think they're gonna get bold, but it's not just white men and white women. And actually, there's kind of a split in their behavior that I've observed. But it was an interesting 48 hours, actually 72 hours, now that I think about it. It's been a beautiful set of days in San Francisco. And see, I live in a city that prides itself on its liberal background. But if you look at the master plan for the year 2040, African Americans being in the population is not part of the plan. So 14 years from today, I'm not supposed to be able to sit up here and look at this. And there are some people's opinion, and I'm not supposed to be able to sit up here and look at this today. Because let me tell you what was happening is I was sitting on the side of this hill with this amazing view of San Francisco. We'll come back to this in a moment. This is Mission Dolores Park. And if you know anything about the demographics of Mission Dolores Park, it wasn't traditionally a place where a lot of black people lived at that side of town. You're going toward Mission Street, which is more of the Latino that have lived there. The Mission Dolores Church is about almost, what is it, 400 years old? It's the one, the mission is actually how San Francisco really got started. And if you go down Mission Street, you'll hit what's called the Royal Road, El Camino Real, one of the oldest Spanish settlements in California and among the northernmost. Because if you go northern than Sonoma, where you have different people having graveyards and so forth, you start to notice that the names, Fort Ross is Russian, Russia, and you start noticing that the names are more European. The Spanish only went so far, but Saint Francis of Assisi was an important person in the Catholic Church at that time, and his name became the name of the city, San Francisco, the city of Saint Francis. But traditionally, that has been very much Spanish and therefore Latino dominated. So you don't see people like me over there just historically that often. It's also at this point one of the more high-end Noe Valley type situations. So I had time. I was going to a doctor's appointment. I was riding clear across town, but I gave myself time to eat a good breakfast and get my walk. That's a significant hill if you're gonna kind of go up and roll around it. Eat a good breakfast and be calm. Um, you know, you're 45, you may as well take care of yourself. Um, I was 44 then, just a couple of days ago. How is it that two white women coming up that hill felt the need to start coughing just as they reached me? I'm sitting up there as my beautiful, radiant self with my colors on. I'm not bothering anyone. I am the one of only two black women in the park, but the other black man who was in the park earlier was sitting in the shade and he got up and left pretty soon after I got there because I did a loop around to kind of see some of the statues and so forth. Speaking of which, I can actually show you that. In this park, just to let you know about the history of the park itself, in this park, there is a statue. Got to go back quite a long way. I took a lot of pictures that day. There is a statue of a liberator of Mexico, and there he is. As I say, this is the historical side of town. This is there's a statue there, and you figure it's a colonizer, because there's so many of those around, but no. Miguel Hidalgo, Libertador de Mexico, 1810. And someone had left some flowers that morning. So I walked around the park. I had a look. I had a lot of beautiful views from different places around the park. And so we're sitting up there, and two different white women, two different times. It's quite a walk up the hill, granted. They got to where I was and started coughing and carrying on. They passed all the other people that were sitting on that rise and started that with me. Now, you have to understand a little bit about the history of white people and their history of bioterrorism. These are people that conquered the Americas by handing out smallpox infected blankets to the Native Americans in order to kill them off. These are the people that are convinced that COVID-19 was a pandemic because they have good reason in their history to believe that it escaped from a lab somewhere in China. So they imagine the Chinese are doing it back to them. However, I was listening to an army sergeant talking about, black mold from the army's perspective is a bioweapon. Agent Orange, that tore up the life of my great love, Sergeant Love, was a pesticide meant to kill the jungles of Vietnam so that the native Vietnamese could not use their own terrain against American soldiers. The United States lost several 10,000 soldiers. The Vietnamese War claimed 5 million Vietnamese. And when our soldiers came home, they still had to live with that pollutant. So it does not matter to me whether these white women were expressing their disgust that I was sitting and glowing in the sunlight where they wanted to be. And it was just a physiological reaction to surprise. Who are you? How are you here? Sitting up here and having these white men coming by and looking at you. Or you're sitting where I want to sit. How dare you be here? And they all start vomiting up whatever junk is in their lungs. Really makes no difference. One of these women was with a man who saw what happened and just walked away. A complete and utter coward. He didn't want to confront her on her behavior, so he just walked away from it. I know that he did that because I met him. He walked down the hill to the statue and just waited until I was ready to leave, and then he walked back up. That also tells you that that man lives in fear of that woman in a patriarchy. Says me a little bit more about white society than probably they want us to know, but that's neither here nor there. See, I don't work with these women every day. I don't depend on them for my living. So I thought to myself, how many different types of microaggressions do Black women face every single day from women like this, and then have to go to those places to work for a living? If this just happened because I was supposed to be in a park that not many of us are in, and I just happened to get a nice seat in the sun that I walked up and took, it's a public place, and y'all just go into bioterror mode. And that's why I'm saying the only thing that would have happened with confidence with love is they would have had to go down the steep side of the hill. By the way, I walked up that hill. I walked up over the grass. It'd be no fun by the time I got to the top and made it up there and turned that corner. That's what would have needed to happen. Because confidence with love will tell you if someone spits on you, that's an assault. All the bacteria that people's bodies carry. So she would have had to have folk. I'm like, look, listen, break the ankle, just roll. Keep on rolling. Roll in a zigzag if you can. Just ridiculous behavior. So today, well, let me not skip parts. So then I kind of look at, okay, the behavior of Black men over the course of the same time period. The Black men I know are honorable men who work hard for their families and community. The ones I meet in San Francisco are the survivors, and they bear the scars of living in a city that does not plan for them to be alive here in 14 years. Has been working on this since 1947. So I got on a bus on my way back from my appointment, and I sat down. And this Black elder man just looked over me, saw that I was Black, and started telling me his whole life story like I wanted to hear that. about his son disrespecting him and all the rest, and how he called in and got drivers moved and trying to impress me that he was a powerful person. I'm looking at the wheelchair and I'm looking at the things that came out of General Hospital for the wheelchair and the fact that it takes him more than a minute to get off the bus, but you just sitting up here delusional. I just made listening noises and observed. That's all. He made an entire spectacle of himself for the entire bus. I just looked at the faces of the people and how they shook their heads when he was gone. And of course, I could not defend his behavior. I just endured it for the few stops that he was riding. But everybody knew all that posturing, all that foolery. Again, he would have said something to confidence, love, my fellow poor auntie. I'm like, man, climb through the window. Just you see that emergency window? You interrupted her. You don't know her. You started just dumping the story of your life, and you just felt like you had a right to do that. You see that emergency window? I'm gonna need you to get yourself, and I'm gonna need you to get that wheelchair. I don't know how you're gonna do it. I just know that you need to go out now. Yes, I know the bus is not stopped, but sir, your life is in danger. But see, I observe and I document because again, I don't depend on anyone like him for my livelihood. So I can observe. Men like that are not running anything in my life. So I can observe and let people know that yes, this is how Black women are treated, how Black men think they just have the right to pull on our energy and they have the right to dump whatever's bothering them and then they play their silly game to try to impress. Not all. Because I prefaced this by saying the Black men that I know and am in a community with are not like this, but there's too many. So if they think they can just walk up in the street and monopolize your time, no matter what it is you're going through. Now, of course, I attempted to actually have conversation with him. No dice. He just wanted to vomit. Just like the white women wanted to cough up whatever was in their lungs, like they had climbed up there and got high altitude pulmonary edema all of a sudden at 29 feet, right where I was sitting. Just a physiological action of this Black woman is here to carry whatever it is we want to put on her back. Now, I was at the store after that. I was doing my shopping for my parents. And there was a Black man doing some shopping there. And I just said, "Excuse me, sir," and went past him. He turned around and followed me down the aisle. He remembered my voice from college 20 years ago. And I left that much of an impression on him. He said, "Didn't we go to school together?" So we put this, I'm like, "Oh, that's right. You so and so with a smile." Because I remember the smile. He still has all his teeth. And so this was not unpleasant. But again, I got to learn a whole life story. But he was shopping for some pound cake for his mom, and I was doing some shopping for my mom and dad. This was not a disrespectful interaction. And then, we found out about classmates that had passed away, and it was actually kind of sad, but I'm glad I ran into him. This was not bad. It was, like I said, slightly inappropriate, but, understandable. He remembered my voice from like 25 years earlier. And I remember him talking about some of our other classmates and how he thought they were uppity, but because she gave him the same time of day, he found out she was a down-to-earth person. I'm sitting there like, so you see Black women being down to earth, let you take 10, 20, 30 minutes out of their day telling them your life story, and you had told her all about what happened with your ex and everybody else, and she sat there and comforted you. So basically, you judge Black women as being down to earth by how much time they're willing to volunteer to help you out and comfort you. I would have been on the confidence, love, don't hurt him. This is my classmate. He ain't, he taking our time, but this is all right. I know him from way back. He was always respectful. It's cool. He's all right. He cool. I don't know if I would have been able to save him for taking up our time, but I would have at least put that word in for him. This was not a disrespectful interaction, but it was like the other one. I haven't seen you in 25 years. Do you not have enough knowledge of yourself that you don't know who I have become in 25 years? Or maybe he peeped who I was going to become even then. It's possible. Like I said in the video I did about the last video I did about Jamal and Carrie Bryan and the dress and the hypocrisy, I do try to live an integrated life. I've basically been the same person since 9 years old. I'm about community service. I'm about being polite. I'm about being appropriate. That's, I've been a Christian for now 41 years. I've always tried to behave as Christ would have me. I guess this just impressed them from all that time back. It's good to know you made a good impression. It's good to know you made a good impression. But it was cool. It wasn't disrespectful. I'm, gonna pray for the family of our classmate that didn't make it though. When you're 45 and folks are going underground, but that just tells you also what's happening, the life of black men. If you have a classmate who came back to school and is 10 years older, the expected lifespan is only 66 to 72, but since the age of the manosphere, we're watching these men get testicular cancer in their 30s and be gone before their mid 50s. Mediocre Scores reviews was 38 and lost one of the family jewels. Lead attorney just came out talking about his journey with the same affliction. And I'm sitting up here like, what is happening to you? But then again, David Carroll, Patrice O'Neal, and Kevin Samuels are gone. And the only reason Anton Daniels is around and, to go near fisticuffs with Corey Holcomb is because his wife and daughter said you have a heart palpitation, you're going to need to go to the doctor. There's a consequence for that. And I honestly do hate to see it. I do. It's a very good thing these individuals ran into me and not confidence of love. For real. But today, today. So, um, I am frustrated because last year I had to sit down a lot of year because of anemia, and I had to buckle down with my parents for half a year. I'm not frustrated with either of those, but you can put on about a pound per month if you're not moving around the way you were. And so I lost 45 pounds between 2020 and 2024, and I put 11 of them back last year, and I don't like it. So now I got to go back and get it, remember what I was doing and get out and get around. And so it turns out that I have a salad bar near me. So I enjoy going to the salad bar. The only problem is, and y'all know exactly what it, some of you will know what this is. The problem is it takes a whole paycheck to shop up in there, unless you know what you're doing. Because, spring greens and spinach don't weigh much. So even if the meal is $12.99 a pound, if you just don't get everything at okay, I need vegetables, I need protein. That's it. That's it. And if you can find well-seasoned vegetables or well-seasoned proteins, you don't need to add much else. So you can eat a relatively good, cheap meal, and by San Francisco standards, under $10 at the salad bar, even at whole paycheck. So I'm going down the aisle. I've got my little salad in hand. I use the smallest box. I kind of have a sense by weight of how much I want to do. So I have a careful hand. I kind of know. So I'm rolling my way down the aisle, and there's this white gentleman in front of me, and he's just singing. He feels like he's on top of the world. That he actually could sing a little bit too. I always noticed that. I told y'all about the beautiful bass voice that he lost and fell out, he lost his chance to me in 10 minutes. But if you have a beautiful bass voice, this guy was a tenor, there was no. But let me tell you why. Also, it was no. So we're both going to check out. He's a 8 to 9 inches, he's in front of me, right? We're both going the same way. It ends up, the Spirit of God told me this is gonna be the tortoise and the hare. Because he's in front of me. There's nobody in front of him. There's nobody at checkout line. He's on his way out. He's just cruising speed. He decides to go pick up one more item. I kept moving. Guess who stepped in front of him and got in line first? And guess who started sucking his teeth just mad? Because we competed for one and spots 1 and 2 at the checkout line. And so there were no people, there's like nobody in the checkout. We only gonna be there 30 seconds, and here he goes. Man, if there's a competition, you lost it. And you lost it because you went off the path to go pick up something else, and I didn't. But man, who told you it was a competition? But if it was, you lost. Yes, you lost to a middle-aged fat black woman carrying hiking poles that you get to assume is disabled, who climbed up the side of the hill at Mission Dolores Park on the grass and sat down and made your sister mad and let them be mad because I had my N95. So what you gonna do? It's not a competition because you can't compete. It's also not a competition because I don't have any competition. Shout out to confidence with love, self-confidence for Black women, but also Christ has no competition. I'm more than a conqueror in Christ. Ain't no competition out here. Again, I don't depend on men like him for my living. See, let me explain something to y'all. Y'all remember this book? I don't have to check in with a man like him who would suck his teeth because I'm in front of him in line for all of 10 seconds because he went to the side. Y'all remember the book Bitcoin Bulls? It does not matter whether I was asked this question. Are you frustrated that more people didn't pick up the book and use it? To a point, but it didn't stop me from doing what I needed to do with it. Okay, I'm wondering if I actually showed y'all what I was supposed to show y'all. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I'll go back through some of these pictures before we leave. The point is, in their heads, oh, okay, then I got to the checkout line today. I had the same cashier I'd had the day before. Now, she's looking at, oh my gosh, you were able to buy a salad here 2 days in a row, meaning that you're able to eat a $10 a day meal. No, I was given a gift card for Christmas that I still had. And since I had to be out and run around a lot the last 2 days in a row, I decided to get a salad bar, go to the salad bar on the way home. But no, I can't afford, I can, but I choose not to budget $300 a month to eat either. That don't make no kind of sense. But you have a salad bar there. This cashier starts catching an attitude because she also is a person of color, but caste status, she should think she should be above me. She can't afford to go to that salad bar. She couldn't believe I managed to get it under $10. And she starts catching an attitude. I'm like, baby, if it's a competition, you lost again. And yes, I'm in here at, you're working. I'm in here in my nice clothes, going back out to relax in the sun. If there was a competition, you lost. But here's the deal. 72 hours just walking around on beautiful days. I can't help that I have melanin. Y'all can even see it on the camera. I've been sitting in the sun for 3 days. Shout out to Confidence Love with the skin products for Black women that cleared up most of this acne at this point. I haven't it hasn't come back. I cannot help it that I'm going to be out there 10 times radiant than most people just because I have melanin. I cannot help it that my city decided it didn't want Black people here, but they couldn't get rid of my family or me. I can't help it that if you go out to get another item, I'm probably going to get in front of you in line just because I kept on moving. I can't help it that I got up the side of the hill and was sitting there 5 to 10 minutes before you came, but because you're not used to seeing Black women in the park, you as a white woman thought you were entitled to everything you put the sole of your foot on, and you're not. And see, this is what Black women, I'm also, it's not my fault that Black men do not have anyone to talk to after a certain age because if they do not invest in caring for the people around them and the community around them. None of those things are my fault. And see, the other reason that I'm not so much bothered by it, but I'm documenting it, is to let y'all know this is what's going on. This is what Black women in America live with every day. I'm in a quote unquote liberal city. So you can imagine what this is like in a Republican state and in Republican towns right now. Well, you have hypocritical white preachers who think they can just roll up into Black churches and tell everybody in there they're going to hell. Now, on the merits, if you think that Jamal and Carrie Bryant are going to save you, yeah, you probably are, unless you get up out of there and come to Christ. But the idea that white people think that they can roll up on you and bioterrorize and be mad because you still end up in front, that other people of color do not know what to do with themselves so that they can be outside sometimes at 11 o'clock on a beautiful winter day. And I'm mad because you can, and you're supposed to be below them in caste status. This is what Black women experience every day of the week, except they have to commute more with them than I have to. They have to depend on working with these people for money to survive, which is really why we really need to begin to work together. We really need to learn how to access different forms of economy by being able to work collectively. This is why we really need to stop depending on the idea that Black men are going to be able to come and save us. They can't just because. They're struggling themselves, and we saw the testimony of that. I see the testimony of that all around me. But this is a documentation of 72 hours in total of just watching how people act when Black women are doing what they want to do, enjoying their life, and are unbothered. It's a problem for a lot of people. And we deal with those microaggressions and the bits about coughing stuff up all over people. Well, there's a pandemic. And I'm not going to say they were over me or anything like that. I don't want to act like they were just, sitting on my shoulder coughing, but they were within 6 feet. People think they have the right to do all that. And like I said, uh, yes, I know the hill is steep. Go over it anyway. If you want Everest, you live long if you jump off on the side that has 10,000 feet that have done any of that with confidence, with love. But I just choose to document it to let Black women know what you're going through is real. This is a document to let you know. Just understand that people are admitting that you've already defeated them. Y'all have a good day now. Goodbye.